for them, it was for her. Ethics can be a very difficult subject. It can be a very personal, individual thing, and it's a tough issue. We were talking at the table earlier about Herbert Taylor, who wrote your four-way test in 1932 because he was the president of a company that was in bankruptcy. He used it as a turnaround tool. Ethics as a turnaround tool. Think that might work today?
Yes.
I hope it does, because that's what I'm here to promote and support. He turned around Club Aluminum Corporation. I've still got some of their pots and pans in my drawer. They're great stuff. It was 10 years later before the Rotary adopted the four-way test, and another 10 years after that before he served as international president. But think of the legacy he started in 1932 with the four-way test. 23 simple words that resonate today as well as they did then. But ethics is a personal issue. It's something that you have to take to yourself. And I want to warn you about the four horsemen of the new apocalypse. They're greed, speed, laziness, and haziness. Greed, speed, laziness, and haziness. They have a stable hand. His name is incompetence. He'd be riding, but he doesn't know how. Think about the history that we've just experienced. Enron, $60 billion. Why? Because of greed and haziness. Greed of Enron, haziness on Arthur Andersen's part. Followed by Bernie Madoff. Do you think people gave Bernie money because they didn't trust him? That's the only way he got money, was because people trusted him. But they didn't know him. They knew somebody who knew somebody. And that's how he got his. And how he got $50 billion and ended up in jail. Where were the regulators that should have been overseeing this regulated business that he was running? Were they too busy, going too fast, not seeing what they should have done? Was it laziness or haziness that cost us that? Greed, speed, laziness, or haziness. Those are the root causes of our ethical dilemmas. If you look at any one of the current headlines railing at us, you'll see that that's true. That one of those is the bottom line to it. Here's another one of my favorite quotes. It's really simple if you want to understand how to fix this. I mean, it's too simple. If you want to feel proud of yourself, you have to do things you can be proud of. Isn't that hard? Feelings follow action. Amen. We all know that, but who's reminding us? Who's on the stump to tell us this often enough, loud enough, and reasonably enough so that we believe it and heed it? Well, not enough people, apparently, because we're continuously caught in this. So here's what happens. Shelving hard decisions is the least critical course. But that's what we'd all like to do. We'd all like to turn our head and look the other way. How do I know that's true? I'm going to go back to these surveys again. In a recent survey of employees of companies over 1,000 employees, over 48% of the people surveyed reported that they had seen, observed, either unethical or illegal behavior in their organization. 48%. Now, what constitutes that in your mind may be different from what constituted it in the mind of the person who reported it or suggested that they'd seen it and probably didn't report it. Things that come to mind are like running the copier for some business issue that's not about this business, for the scout team or something else, or taking home pencils, or using, you want to know the biggest is using the internet. The estimates today are that upwards of 30% of our workforce is losing its productivity in wasted time on the internet. Looking up stuff for the house, shopping, playing basketball, I don't know what they're doing, but it's not being productive to the business. And it creates problems. And it creates the kind of problem that Aristotle talked about. Character is that which reveals the moral purpose, exposing the class of things a man chooses to avoid. Isn't it what we avoid that names us as much as anything we do? Isn't the really tough thing to stand up and say, I don't like that, I don't want that happening, I don't agree with that? Or isn't it just easier to turn our head and shake our head and go, oh, shame, shame? I'm going to go back to Skipper for a minute and tell you how he's defined this and share it with you. He says ethics really comes down to two decisions. It's really one decision, two choices. You either choose conscience or convenience. Now, which do you think is the tougher? Well, if you're going to avoid greed, speed, laziness, and haziness, it's going to have to be conscience. Because that's the way of convenience. That's the easy way out. I'm going to leave you with my favorite little prayer. So far today, God, I've done all right. I haven't gossiped. I haven't lost my temper. I haven't been greedy, nasty, selfish, or even overindulgent. But in a few minutes, I'm going to have to get out of bed. And I'm probably going to need a lot more help. And if we're going to overcome the crisis of ethics in America today, it's going to have to start right here with you and me making a decision based on conscience rather than convenience. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have a great day.